In this video I would like to show you how you can modify a workflow in the Matrix 42 ESM. As a foundation we will use the create user process for the new employee. So first of all we want to go through this process to see what it is by default. So I open the console with this Maria Miller test user. You can either do it from the RDP sessions on the server or with your own browser. And we will now navigate to Catalog, Services, Accounts. And here we have the new employee service, which we add to our cart. And then add a sample user, like for example Ford Prefect. And job title is Marketing Expert. Okay, add to cart, place order. And now we need an approval. And one of the approvers is Frank Fryer. So when you click on this icon here or log in with Frank Fryer, there should be a request for an approval in his self-service portal. Yep, here we go. So I click on this pending approval. We can also check the form. So when we click on this icon here, we can see what has been entered. And then we click on decide, enter a comment like OK, and click on approve bookings. So the approval process is finished, and now it will automatically initiate the provisioning process, which will create the account in our local Active Directory. So when you're on a server, you can go to Active Directory users and groups. And there we have Ford Prefect. And the user who ordered the service should also receive an email. So when you go to this email icon on the server, you can then go to Maria Miller, inbox, and here we have this onboarding Ford Prefect successfully completed email message. This is the random password that has been created and the email address. Now we want to modify this workflow. So what I do, I open the console with the administrator, which is this icon, or you log in with Vincent Valentine, that's the administrator. And first of all, we check how the service is built. So we go to the service catalog application, go to service portfolio and search for employee. You will see there are two new employee processes in our list. This is an old one, which we retired. This is the operational one we will modify. So right-click, click Edit here. And when we go to provisioning, you can see the name of the workflow that is initiated when the service is ordered. So it's create new user. To modify this workflow, we now navigate to the administration application and open our Workflow Studio from Services and Processes, Workflows, Workflow Studio. The create new user process probably shows in the recent list, but if that's not the case, you can also click on open and then you search for create new user and open the workflow. Please don't forget to click checkout, because otherwise the whole workflow will be just read-only. If we click checkout, we can make modifications. First of all, I want to explain what's in the present workflow here. So we have get order data, which is an activity we dragged and dropped from the repository. So we can get, for example, the delivery address or the total order amount. If we need that, we can also get information of the booking, and we can get form data. So the form data is what has been entered in our form. So that includes first name, last name, job title, things like that. So we can use these variables in our workflow now. And so one activity we added here is a PowerShell script, which can be added like this, drag and drop. So this is a PowerShell activity which receives parameters from the form, like first name, last name, and then it simply runs some PowerShell commands to create users in local AD and Azure AD. This is, for example, the section that creates the random password. And here we have the sections for the actual creation of the accounts. And down here we have the send email activity, which has also been added from the repository, like this. And the parameters are, for example, message body, so we can see or edit what will be sent out to the user, including variables. And this is the subject. What we want to do now is we want to create a task before this email is sent out to create a badge for the new employee. So let me move this over here and we search for an activity to create a task. So I just drag and drop this right here. It's automatically linked if we put it directly on this line. And so these are the mandatory fields that are highlighted. So first of all, we need a category. Category could be service catalog. Description, what needs to be done, create badge, and then we select first name and last name. Okay, what else do we need? We need a summary, which is right here. Let me just put badge 4 and then the user's first name. And so now all the mandatory fields are filled. Maybe we should also add a role like facility management. These roles can be created in administration. It can also be linked to AD groups. We could also activate the notification or configure an SLA, but that's optional. And now we want to wait till this task is finished. So as it is right now, it would just create the task, then send the email anyway. Let's wait for it. So first, we need to create an ID. So by clicking on task ID, create variable, let's call this key. And now we need a wait activity. So this one, wait for activity, I drag and drop it right here and say let's wait for this key task. Okay, that's it. And to activate this workflow, we click on Save, Check In, and Release. So we always need these 3 buttons, Save, Check In, and Release will also create a new version of this workflow. So if you have an issue with this version, you can go back to the old version if you like. Let's do some testing. So first of all, I want to order the service again. This time I simply type employee here. Oh, typo, employee. And then the system will suggest any matches in the system. Okay, here we go. New employee. And this time we order an account for Seifert Bibelbrox. And he's also a marketing expert. And yeah, so we place the order and we approve the order. So Frank Fryer again. Approve. Okay. So the difference is it will now create a task. So we go to the administration again by clicking this icon or logging in with Winston Valentine. And we go to the service catalog. And in the collaboration task, we will now have this badge for Seifert task assigned to the facility management team. And it waits till this task is finished. We can check that by going to Administration, Services and Processes, Workflow Instances, and you will see that it's now waiting here, so it's suspended. When I go to Service Catalog and close this task, the workflow will continue. So this is the task again. I select the close activity, type OK, badge created, and when we go back to Administration, Services, Workflows, Workflow Instances, you will see that this workflow is now finished. So we will have an AD user and the email again.